Last days at FORCADOS Chapter 10. Second term had started. The chemistry laboratory was filled with serious-faced students. One held up a test tube filled with a green liquid. Bingo, he said. James, this would indicate ferrous iron, wouldn't it? It should, Jimmy replied absently. Mr. Ede, the chemistry teacher, came to their table. How are you all doing? Just fine, sir. They chorused. Sholade, you wait behind after lab. Jimmy murmured a little. He looked around and saw Efua feeling a breath, eyebrows puckered in concentration. She looked up, their eyes met, and she quickly glanced away. He wondered why she had been staring. After classes, Mr. Edet asked Jimmy to help tidy up the lab. He led the way into the back room that was usually empty, but was not filled with microscope, barrettes, and other new equipment. Brand new stuff for your exams, said Mr. Edet, rubbing his hands. You students don't know how lucky you are. It's good, sir, Jimmy said politely. Mr. Edet stopped and peered at him short-sightedly. Is anything wrong? Nothing, sir. Good to hear that, he patted Jimmy's head paternally. You can join the technician, help him preserve and label the snake. Give him the key to the cupboard where the formalin is kept. Is on that cabinet. Thank you, sir, but I think I should be getting home now. It was well past 4 and the grounds were empty. He leaned against the wall and thought of his last visit to the hospital and the silent drip of the intravenous chemotherapy line draining into his mother's arm. She was in so much pain these days. Sometimes I seem to say, "Aunt, I want this to end." He bent over and vomited onto the grass. Then he went to the tap and washed his mouth and hands. Efwa came upon Jimmy as he was wiping his hands with a handkerchief and had stayed behind to helping Miss Novi plan a weekend campaign against child hawking. Do be careful, Miss Novi had said just before leaving. I heard there was a clash between some area boys this morning around here. I didn't hear anything like that, Efwa had said. Anyway, don't worry. The teacher had patted her cheek lightly, and for a minute they had gazed at each other affectionately. As Efwa walked along, the air seemed sweeter and colors brighter until she saw Jimmy. Oh, she said. Oh, he mumbled. She had always thought Jimmy was a cocky and irritating, but today there aimed something helpless creature like baby bears. Why? She suddenly thought, he looks like a child, really, a poor little kid. He stood up straight. Excuse me. Wait, she said. I don't mean to pry, but Nene said your mom wasn't feeling too well. I hope she's better now. Thanks, he answered. They stood staring at each other a little awkwardly. Then he said, I'm going home, are you? And that was how they found themselves walking together towards the school gate. Effa was always regretting her impulse. She didn't like walking with boys. Hope he doesn't start any nonsense again, she thought. Meanwhile, Jimmy was trying hard not to glance at her. She looked fresh and cool and fastidiously neat, as always. Her gentle perfume filled the air. Her boobies were. Shame on you, Jimmy, he thought, catching himself. Your mother is in the hospital and you are having thoughts like that. They turned down the street and she started to say something when they heard gunshots. Suddenly, the noise of people screaming and glass breaking filled the air. What was that? Effa gripped Jimmy's hand in fear. People were running helter-skelter and a stray of oranges rolled in the dust. The young girl hawking them was wailing loudly, but nobody paid any attention to her. Area boys and the police were fighting. Someone shouted, if you love yourself, stay out of the way. Jimmy and Eva joined a group and ran towards an uncompleted building. We would best stay here, Jimmy said when they got inside. He noticed almost regretfully that Eva had released his hand. More people filled the street shouting and adding to the commotion. When Eva said, I know that boy, who? Jimmy asked. He saw that he was pointing at a plump boy of about 10 years old who stood in the middle of the street staring blankly. He had a small squinting eyes and an oddly shaped head that seemed too large for the body. Is he from the school for retarded children? Children with learning disabilities, she corrected him primly and then said with alarm, he's going to get hurt. She was moving forward. Don't tell him you are going there. You can't, Jimmy called. She looked at him in astonishment. And who will stop me? She ran out and cursing under his breath. Jimmy followed her. The air was filled with blinding smoke that stung their eyes. A policeman was beating a man lying on the ground with the butt of his rifle. Then the man raised his head. They saw it was covered with blood. Efua grabbed the boy's hand and then someone pushed her from behind. He reeled forward, almost falling into the nearly gutter, but Jimmy caught him. "Run," she shouted, and they ran out of the smoke, pulling the boy along with them. They kept running until they were far from the heat and noise of the unrest. She was trembling, and Jimmy had a small cut on his lip. The boy burst into tears. "Look," Jimmy said, "if we stay here, the trouble can come here. I know the owner of the ice cream bar is not totally shut here. He will let us in. Lucky for us," she gasped. They banged on the burglar bars, and the man peered through the glass apprehensively. Samu, the owner, was a family friend of Jimmy's. His expression changed when he saw them, and he opened the bars. The place was air-conditioned and had a television. "Jimmy the Great, how are you? Always trouble in this Lagos," he said. Then he lowered his voice. "And who is this one now? It's not Caro and it's not Dokpeo." "Stop it," Jimmy almost blushed. "She's just my classmate." "That's why you are looking so sheepish." "I don't blame you though. She's a wow." Effa was seated with the boy, her arm around his shoulder. "I'm sorry," she said. "You like doing crazy things." "Crazy nice things," Jimmy grinned. She undid the band tying her hair. She hadn't plaited it in this week, and it was long and thick and fell off from her shoulder. "I don't. Bad things just always happen when you are around. I will take that as a joke." They both laughed, and she said, "It was terrible, but you were nice," almost reluctantly. "Yes, I am nice." "You did. How did you get involved with him?" Jimmy pointed to the boy. "Through a charity visit I once helped with. It was lovely, and I learned a lot about children like him and the way society sees them," she said in serious voice. It sounded rather silly to Jimmy, but the talk went on to things like safety on the street, school life, people, places, and so on. Once or twice they laughed. Jimmy had never had her laugh before this. The boy also cheered up considerably, pointing at things and staring at the television. Samu brought them free ice cream and winked at Jimmy. "Why did you leave school?" Jimmy asked. "I wanted to leave. Now I regret it." "Oh, I will tell you more about your time now. Not now." By the time the unrest finally died down, it was dark. "I think we should be going now. My hands will be worried," Effa said. "There's nothing to worry about me," Jimmy suddenly thought, and felt downcast. "We have to drop him off," she said, pointing at the little boy. After thanking Samu, they took the boy to his boarding school. "Bless you both," the instructor said when they arrived with the child. "You are wonderful children." On their way home, they chatted and laughed. The streets seemed magically changed, like colored lights flashed from the billboard with the words like "Naija for life" waiting there. Traders selling piles of oranges sat talking as paraffin lamps glowed like a magic candles on their trays. Cheerful music sounded from shops and restaurants. A man with dreadlocks leaned against a wall and played a guitar softly as they walked past the park. Just opposite, a little garment church service was in full swing with noisy chanting, prayers, and stamping feet. A girl selling recharge cards beside her stall danced to the music of popular pop Timaya, which was playing from a nearby shop. She shook, twisted, and bent with such reckless abandon that Jimmy and Effa stopped and laughed as well, infected with pure fun, except for the broken glass on the ground. It seemed impossible that there had been trouble just that afternoon. They stopped in front of our house. "Thanks for today," she smiled. You know." She stopped as if she had too much, smiled at him, and squeezed his hand a little. Jimmy realized that they had been holding hands the whole time. "Good night," she went inside. Jimmy continued towards his house. The days seemed to have lasted forever. The sky was full of twinkling stars, and there was a full moon. He bounced along, sometimes jumping, sometimes breaking into a run. A few people stared at him, wondering what this boy in a school uniform jacket was all about. When he went to sleep that night, there was a half smile